First of all, rest in peace to Tupac Shakur. He passed away on September 13th, 1996. And we was going to do a different type of video about him, but I wanted to, come with a different angle. And with what happened to PNB Rock, I figured that there got to be some way where I could take care of two birds with one stone. And so I figured, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a breakdown of the song To Live or Die in LA, which is off the Machiavelli record. Now, this record here would have been considered as California Love Part 2. See, California Love, the Part 1, was more so like a celebration of him being home. He rocking with Dr. Dre. It's a party. Part 2, it seems more like he was giving you the game and the essence and the science behind the Los Angeles lifestyle and the culture. It was like he was giving us a tour guide, if you really listen to the lyrics. And this was one of the light records that was on Machiavelli, because Machiavelli was him talking about death, revenge, it was depression, it was activism. But this here was one of the most lighter records that he did up here. And even though he was born in New York, he wanted to show love to LA, because that was his home and that was who adopted him during the midst of what was going on at the time with him and Bad Boy. So we get into the song. The production, first of all, is beautiful. They took the Prince Do Me Baby joint and sampled that. QD3 did his thing up there. Then he brought Val Young, who was a part of Rick James's group. I think the Mary Jane Girls, She was doing some work for Death Row at the time. So she brought a nice little old school touch to it. Then you had Pop coming in. First verse in, he was talking about what he dealt with. Us niggas hustle for the cash, so it's hard to knock it. Everybody got their own currency casing worldwide through the hard time, worry your faces. Shed tears and we bury niggas close to heart. Old friend, now a ghost of the dark. And see, he was talking about what he was dealing with at the time. Talk about the chase of currency. That's why he was working so hard, man. Like, he was doing this album. He was doing 2 movies at the time. He was doing All Eyes on Me. He was touring. He was just acknowledging the hustler within the LA culture. Even though he's a Bay dude, he understands that. And was also crazy that he also talked about plea bargaining ain't an option, so now I'm stressing. And basically he was talking about that trial at the time that had him sent. Like, even though he got bail, he still worried. He said it cost him more to be free than being life in the pen. And if you really break down about that, he was talking about how he was bailed out and they had to pay the cost. Like, he had to pay a lot of that money back. He was basically in debt. Cost more to be free than a life in the pen. That means he had to pay his costs to get out of prison. Like, those lawyer fees to eat that money up. And recouping that money, shoot. Recouping what he owed Death Row, what he owed Interscope, what he owed these lawyers. That's why he worked like he worked. But what I liked about Live and Die in LA, though, was the second verse, though. Because the second verse, he really got the town into really describing what the LA lifestyle really is, to keep you in tune with what's going on. Like, he acknowledged the ghetto bird helicopters. He talked about 3 strikes, which is a very familiar term in Los Angeles. Like, 3 strikes, you're out. Then he talked about you better learn about the dress codes, B's and C's. He talking about Bloods and Crips. Because he had people think California is just fun and bitches. Like, Exhibit even said the same thing. People be thinking it's just all palm trees and good weather and women out here. It is real. It's real serious out there. So you gotta be alert. My other favorite line up there was when he said, We might fight amongst each other, but I promise you this, you will burn this bitch down, get us pissed. He was referring to the 92 riots, and I think he was referring to the 68 Watts riots, because that's when police brutality was at a full force within LA at that time. And you get people pissed off, they burnt LA down to a crisp. That's what he was referring to here. Then he also shouted out the Mexicans, and I think this is where Tupac is embraced by the essays to this day. This line right here. Then he also showed love to KD, Crenshaw, MLK, all the hoods. Then he also showed love to Roscoe's. We shot the video at Roscoe's, as a matter of fact. And here's another key line, too, that a lot of people don't know. When he shouted out Neckbone Trey, Heron Buntry, too, Big Rock got knocked, but this one's for you. Those are some heavy hitters. Those are some vicious niggas. Those were Suge's basically hitters right there. So, those weren't some lightweight guys. Those were some serious guys, man. They will kick your whole asshole off. Then he also showed love to Snoop Dogg, Big Suge in the low with the Big Suge in the low bounce and turn line, Dog Pound and the Lex with an ounce of burn. Then he shout out OFTB. Man, he gave acknowledgement to a lot of real serious hitters here. And then he shouted out the radio stations at the end. And this Dr. Dre at the end. I was like, wow, man, this nigga mad, yo. You know a nigga really mad when even on a light record he began to start dissing people. But that was the gift that Tupac had, man. He had the gift of taking, even with danceable records, he brings serious commentary in it. Like even with How Do You Want It, he was able to mix in his feelings about C. Dolores Tucker and Bob Dole. He was that gifted. So that's my thoughts about Live and Die in L.A. That was one of the best songs he ever did. I mean, from the production standpoint, from the message that he tried to convey, and it let people know LA is not to be played with. It's a beautiful place, but it has a lot of serious encounters within it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Subscribe, hit the like button. Peace.